Imagine facing invaders that can disappear at will, unbeatable, untouchable. Now imagine the only person who can stop them is someone who's never seen anything in her life. What happened next defied every law of physics we'd ever known. The galaxy trembled as invisible forces swept across star systems, leaving destruction in their wake. Emily Ross sat motionless in her small apartment on Mars Colony 7, her unseeing eyes staring into the void where she sensed something watching. The shadows had arrived 3 days ago, and only she could feel their presence. Her fingers twitched against the cool metal of her cane as a shiver ran down her spine. They were close now, closer than ever before. A sudden power surge rocked the colony's artificial gravity system, sending furniture floating and panicked screams echoing through the corridors. Emily remained still, her heightened senses detecting movement patterns that defied physics. Shapes shifted in ways no human or known alien species could manage, rippling through dimensions like liquid darkness. These weren't mere invaders. They were predators, hunting with calculated precision. Her comm unit buzzed urgently. "Emily, it's Alex. I'm outside your door." His voice carried both worry and determination. Alex Murphy had been her protector since childhood, when her unique condition first manifested. He'd learned to trust her instincts more than his own eyes. "I can feel them," she whispered back, tracing invisible lines in the air with trembling hands. "They're testing us. We've only begun to scratch the surface of this cosmic conflict, but already the stakes are rising exponentially. Stay tuned, because what happens next will push our heroes beyond anything they've faced before. When reality itself becomes the enemy, how do you fight back?" Alex burst through the door just as the temperature in Emily's apartment plummeted. Frost crept along the walls while her breath formed visible clouds. "They're here," she stated flatly, standing rigidly by the window. Her enhanced perception painted a terrifying picture, dozens of shadow entities slipping through molecular gaps, their forms bending light around them like living black holes. Each pulse of their existence sent ripples through her consciousness, like nails scraping against chalkboards made of pure thought. "Get down," Alex shouted, shoving her behind an overturned couch as the room exploded into chaos. Furniture disassembled itself mid-air, screws and bolts twisting into deadly projectiles. Yet Emily remained eerily calm, her head tilted at impossible angles as she tracked movements no one else could detect. "There's a pattern," she murmured, fingers dancing through empty space. "Their invisibility has limits. They can't bend all wavelengths simultaneously." Her words sparked realization in Alex's mind. Pulling out his modified scanner, he began calibrating frequencies based on Emily's descriptions. Meanwhile, Emily focused on the vibrations beneath her feet. The shadows communicated through subsonic pulses, their language resonating through the colony's superstructure like a haunted symphony. She could taste their hunger, feel their curiosity about these fragile creatures who dared resist. The situation is reaching critical mass, and we're standing at ground zero of an unprecedented confrontation. Can you imagine facing enemies you can't see, while trying to protect someone whose very existence challenges everything you know about perception? You absolutely cannot miss what happens next. This story is about to take a turn that will redefine everything. The colony's emergency alarms blared as Emily's insights proved correct. When Alex adjusted his scanner to ultraviolet ranges, ghostly outlines flickered into view, amorphous shapes writhing with impossible geometries. But seeing them came at a cost. Each glimpse sent stabbing pain through his optic nerves, like staring directly at a sun-gone supernova. "They're beautiful," Emily whispered, though her face contorted in agony. "And terrible." Shadow tendrils lashed out, attempting to disable their technology. But Emily's warnings gave Alex precious seconds to counter each move. He deployed electromagnetic pulses precisely where she directed, forcing the creatures to retreat from those zones temporarily. Their frustration vibrated through the air like thunderclouds building for a storm. In a moment of clarity, Emily realized something crucial. The shadows weren't just attacking randomly. They were probing, learning, adapting. Each encounter taught them more about human defenses. Worse, they seemed particularly interested in her, circling closer with every encounter, testing her boundaries. A tendril brushed against her mind, and she gasped at the flood of alien concepts. Dimensional folding, quantum tunneling, matter manipulation. "They want me," she told Alex between ragged breaths. "Not to kill, to understand." The implications chilled them both. If the shadows could replicate her ability to perceive them, their advantage would vanish. Humanity's last hope might become its greatest threat. As the battle intensified, Emily discovered new depths to her abilities. The shadow's presence triggered something primal within her, synesthesia on a cosmic scale. Sounds became colors, emotions transformed into textures, and time itself stretched like taffy. She could predict their movements moments before they happened, guiding Alex with increasingly precise instructions. But this heightened awareness came at a price. With each successful defense, the mental strain grew worse. Her temples throbbed, and phantom images danced across her vision, glimpses of places she'd never been, memories not her own. The shadows were bleeding into her consciousness, leaving psychic residue that threatened to overwhelm her mind. Alex noticed her distress and tried to pull back, but Emily refused. "No time," she gritted out, swaying on her feet. "They're calling for reinforcements." Indeed, the colony sensors detected multiple ships entering orbit, larger vessels this time, pulsing with energy signatures that made even hardened military officers pale. Through sheer force of will, Emily pushed past her limits. She began distinguishing individual shadows within the swarm, recognizing patterns in their behavior that suggested hierarchy. Some moved with purpose, directing others. One presence loomed largest of all, cold, calculating, ancient. The Shadow Lord was coming. The atmosphere thickened as the Shadow Lord approached, its arrival heralded by spatial distortions that bent light and sound alike. Emily fell to her knees, overwhelmed by the entity's presence. It wasn't just powerful, it was aware, intelligent in ways that transcended human comprehension. Through her connection, she glimpsed fragments of its history. Civilizations consumed, dimensions unraveled, entire species erased from existence with surgical precision. "We need to move," Alex urged, but Emily shook her head. "It knows we're here. Running won't help." Instead, she reached out with her mind, attempting to communicate. Images flashed between them, mathematical concepts, philosophical questions, abstract representations of life and death. The exchange left her physically ill but revealed critical information. The shadows weren't inherently malevolent. They were explorers, scientists studying entropy's effects on different realities. However, their methods were catastrophic for any civilization caught in their path. They viewed organic life much as humans might regard bacteria, fascinating in study, but ultimately disposable if it interfered with greater understanding. This revelation changed everything. Perhaps extinction wasn't inevitable after all. As understanding dawned, Emily formulated a daring plan. The shadow's invisibility wasn't true cloaking, but rather a form of dimensional displacement. By existing slightly out of phase with normal spacetime, they became undetectable to conventional senses. But her unique perception suggested a vulnerability. Their mass still affected gravitational fields, however minutely. Working with Alex, she developed a prototype device that could map these microfluctuations in real time. The process required absolute concentration and left her physically drained, but the results were promising. For the first time, they could track shadow movements without direct observation, creating predictive models of their behavior patterns. Meanwhile, the colony's situation deteriorated rapidly. Power failures cascaded through systems, and attempts to evacuate civilians met with disaster as shadows infiltrated escape routes. Panic spread faster than the invaders themselves, amplifying chaos. Yet amidst the turmoil, Emily maintained an island of calm focus, her mind processing data streams that would overwhelm any normal human brain. Each test run brought new insights but also increased risk. The shadows grew aware of their efforts, launching more aggressive probes against their position. Time became their most precious resource, ticking away faster than either wanted to acknowledge. The breakthrough came during a particularly intense incursion. As shadow entities converged on their location, Emily's perception expanded beyond individual detection to encompass their networked intelligence. She saw, felt, how they coordinated through quantum entanglement, sharing information instantaneously across distances. More importantly, she recognized the subtle harmonics that bound their collective consciousness together. This discovery opened new possibilities for countermeasures. Working feverishly, Alex modified their prototype into a resonance generator capable of disrupting these harmonic frequencies. The first test nearly killed them both. The feedback loop created excruciating psychic noise that left Emily convulsing and Alex temporarily deaf. But it worked. For brief moments, the shadows lost cohesion, their forms flickering into visibility. Word of their success spread through underground channels, drawing attention from unexpected quarters. A mysterious figure reached out, claiming knowledge of similar encounters throughout human history. Ancient texts spoke of those who walked between, beings that could traverse dimensions at will. More intriguingly, these accounts mentioned individuals with abilities akin to Emily's, suggesting her condition might be genetic rather than accidental. The implications were staggering, but there was no time to dwell on them. The Shadow Lord had taken personal interest in their activities, marshaling forces for what promised to be their final assault. Preparations reached fever pitch as Emily and Alex refined their weapon. Each iteration pushed technological boundaries further, incorporating elements of quantum mechanics that should have been theoretical impossibilities. Yet necessity mothered invention, and desperation drove innovation. They discovered that certain musical frequencies amplified the generator's effects, particularly complex patterns found in Earth's ancient chants and tribal rhythms. These findings led to another revelation. Human cultural evolution might have been influenced by previous shadow encounters. Many traditional instruments produced vibrations matching the disruptive frequencies. From Tibetan singing bowls to Aboriginal didgeridoos, humanity had unknowingly developed tools to combat these invaders over millennia. This heritage now became their greatest asset. As they integrated these acoustic elements, Emily's connection to the shadows deepened. She began experiencing vivid visions of other realities where similar conflicts played out differently. Some civilizations successfully repelled the invaders, others fell completely. Most disturbing were the timelines where humans embraced shadow technology, becoming something other. These alternate futures haunted her waking hours and troubled dreams alike. The approaching climax crackled with tension. Every system check, every calibration adjustment carried weight far beyond technical procedure. Failure meant more than defeat. It meant erasure from existence itself. Final preparations turned into a race against time as the Shadow Lord's patience wore thin. Its attacks grew more sophisticated, probing not just their physical defenses but psychological weaknesses too. Emily found herself confronting phantoms from her past, dead parents, lost friends, versions of herself who took different paths. Each apparition tested her resolve, tempting her with visions of normalcy she'd never known. But something remarkable happened. As the mental assaults intensified, so did Emily's resistance. Her unique perception evolved again, allowing her to distinguish between genuine memories and shadow fabrications. More importantly, she began turning their own weapons against them. By manipulating the resonance fields, she could project counter-illusions that confused and disoriented the invaders. Alex watched in awe as Emily transformed from vulnerable target to active participant in their defense. Her blindness ceased being a limitation and became an advantage. While others relied on visual confirmation, she operated purely on instinct and interpretation of raw data. This gave them crucial milliseconds of reaction time in engagements where nanoseconds mattered. Yet victory remained uncertain. The resonance generator required perfect synchronization with colony power systems, and repeated shadow strikes left infrastructure precariously unstable. One wrong move could trigger catastrophic failure, taking thousands of lives with it. The final confrontation unfolded with apocalyptic intensity. As the Shadow Lord launched its ultimate assault, Emily activated the resonance generator at maximum capacity. The resulting shockwave tore through reality itself, revealing hidden dimensions and exposing the true form of their adversary. What emerged defied description, a kaleidoscope of shifting planes and fractal geometries, radiating an intelligence vast beyond comprehension. Through their established psychic link, Emily engaged the entity in direct dialogue. She presented not just human resistance, but the sum total of their species' potential: art, science, emotion, creativity. The shadows valued knowledge above all, and she offered them something unique: subjective experience, the essence of being that couldn't be quantified or replicated. For eternal moments, the outcome hung in balance. Then, slowly, the Shadow Lord withdrew its forces, not in defeat, but in recognition of something worth preserving. The resonance field had proven humans were more than mere obstacles. They were collaborators in understanding existence itself. The aftermath of the Shadow Lord's withdrawal created ripple effects throughout human society that no one could have anticipated. Emily found herself at the center of a scientific revolution as researchers from across the galaxy descended upon Mars Colony 7, eager to study both her unique abilities and the residual energy signatures left by the shadows. Her senses, now permanently altered by prolonged exposure to dimensional harmonics, began detecting patterns in quantum fluctuations that baffled even the most advanced AI systems. Alex struggled with his new role as liaison between Emily and the scientific community. The man who had once been content protecting a single individual now found himself guarding humanity's most valuable asset. Military factions wanted to weaponize Emily's abilities, corporations sought to profit from them, and fringe groups viewed her as either a messiah or an abomination. Each day brought new threats, more sophisticated than the last. Meanwhile, the Shadow's influence lingered like a half-remembered dream. People reported strange occurrences, objects moving slightly out of phase with reality, brief glimpses of impossible geometries in peripheral vision. Most dismissed these as stress-induced hallucinations, but Emily recognized them for what they truly were: echoes of the dimensional boundary that had been breached. The barrier between realities remained thinner than ever before. As weeks turned into months, Emily discovered an unsettling truth about her connection to the shadows. Their resonance hadn't just enhanced her perception, it had fundamentally rewritten portions of her neural architecture. During routine medical examinations, doctors found clusters of cells that shouldn't exist in human biology, structures that pulsed with the same harmonic frequencies she'd used against the invaders. These changes granted her unprecedented control over local spacetime, but at a cost that was only beginning to reveal itself. Her body started experiencing temporal displacement episodes, moments where she would slip fractions of seconds out of sync with normal time flow. Food would spoil in her mouth, conversations would jump ahead without her awareness, and occasionally entire minutes would vanish entirely. Alex watched helplessly as the woman he'd sworn to protect began fragmenting before his eyes, existing increasingly in the spaces between moments. Yet within this disintegration lay opportunity. Through careful meditation and technological augmentation, Emily learned to navigate these temporal anomalies. She could foresee events seconds before they occurred, step outside time's flow during critical moments, and even create localized stasis fields. Each new ability brought both power and peril, pushing her further from conventional humanity while making her more crucial to its survival. The scientific community's fascination with Emily took a dramatic turn when researchers discovered that the cellular changes in her brain weren't isolated phenomena. Similar mutations began appearing in other humans, particularly those who had been in close proximity during the resonance generator's activation. At first, these cases were rare and subtle: heightened intuition, momentary invisibility, brief telekinetic bursts. But as weeks passed, the numbers grew exponentially. This emerging population of harmonics sparked global debate. Some viewed them as evolution's next step, humanity's natural response to contact with higher dimensional beings. Others saw an existential threat, fearing that widespread mutation might destabilize society. Governments scrambled to establish regulatory frameworks while underground networks formed to protect developing harmonics from exploitation. Emily found herself torn between conflicting responsibilities. As the original and most advanced harmonic, she became both figurehead and mentor to this new generation. Yet each interaction risked accelerating her own transformation, drawing her closer to whatever ultimate state the shadows had inadvertently triggered. Alex watched as she spent hours in deep communion with these emerging talents, sharing knowledge while carefully concealing the full extent of her own condition. Tensions reached a breaking point when corporate interests attempted to capture and study several young harmonics. Their experiments, conducted under the guise of medical research, pushed subjects beyond safe limits, triggering catastrophic chain reactions. Entire facilities disappeared in localized reality collapses, leaving behind zones where physics operated on different principles. The public called them echo zones, places where time flowed backward, gravity inverted, or multiple possibilities manifested simultaneously. Emily knew she had to intervene but feared becoming what she sought to prevent. Her powers had grown too vast, too dangerous to unleash without consequence. In a calculated risk, she developed a training regimen for harmonics that focused not on amplifying their abilities but containing them. Using ancient meditative techniques combined with cutting-edge neurotechnology, she taught them to create personal harmonic fields that stabilized rather than disrupted surrounding reality. These sessions revealed something profound. The shadow's influence hadn't merely altered human biology. It had awakened latent potential present in all sentient beings. What emerged wasn't just a new kind of human but an entirely different approach to consciousness itself. Perception became participatory. Reality responded to observation more directly than ever before documented. The final chapter of this cosmic encounter unfolded not with conflict but synthesis. As harmonics spread throughout human space, carrying their stabilized abilities, they began repairing the damage caused by echo zones. More remarkably, they discovered they could enhance regions of spacetime, creating areas of accelerated growth, expanded creativity, and enhanced cooperation. These resonance sanctuaries became beacons of progress, attracting scientists, artists, and thinkers from across known space. Emily, now existing more in the spaces between than in conventional reality, became something beyond human categorization. She maintained connection through countless harmonic threads, her consciousness distributed yet unified across vast distances. Alex, though aging normally, accepted this transformation, finding new ways to support her work while ensuring the protection of emerging harmonic culture. Human civilization entered a renaissance unlike any before. Technology evolved to accommodate multiple layers of reality. Art transcended previous limitations of form and function, and social structures adapted to include both traditional humans and their harmonic counterparts. The Shadow's legacy proved to be not destruction but evolution, forcing humanity to transcend its limitations and embrace a broader understanding of existence itself. In the end, Emily Ross stood as living proof that sometimes the greatest strengths emerge from what appears to be weakness, that vulnerability can become the foundation for transformation. Her journey reminded future generations that true progress comes not from fighting change but learning to dance with it, to find harmony in chaos and meaning in mystery. Remember, the universe always has more wonders to reveal. Stay subscribed to continue exploring these infinite possibilities among the stars.